everyone, it's Sandy, and today I will be recapping my BEA and BookCon experience. BEA stands for Book Expo America, and it's a 3-day event that takes place every year. It's basically a huge book event for those in the book and publishing industry. So many authors and those in the publishing industry come to this event, along with many book reviewers such as bloggers and booktubers. BookCon is a book convention that's open to the general public. It's a lot cheaper than BEA, so many people do come to this event because they want to meet their favorite authors and get their books signed and get free books as well. For the past several years, BEA and BookCon took place in New York, but this year it's taking place in Chicago, which is my home city, so obviously I had to attend. During this event, I did vlog a little bit, but it's not enough to make like a whole coherent vlog, so that's why I'm filming this video to talk through some of the clips that I got. I have already posted a montage video that is dedicated solely to BEA and BookCon, which I will link down below if you want to check it out. I had a lot of fun editing it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. This video will be going in depth of my experience at BEA and BookCon, along with some of the things that I did around the city. BEA and BookCon was held in McCormick Place in Chicago. I don't live too far from the convention center, but I don't have a car, and if I had taken public transportation, it would have taken about an hour and a half going there, and then going back would also be another hour and a half. So that's basically 3 hours of traveling every single day, and I didn't want to do that, especially since I would have to wake up super early in order to get tickets for author signings. So I decided to book a hotel that was nearby, and I roomed with Brandon from Brandon the Book Addict. We actually booked a hotel in Chinatown. It was the cheapest option available since we were both on a budget, and since it was pretty inexpensive, I didn't expect anything fancy, but it worked out because I had some place to stay, I had some place to shower, and it was totally fine, honestly. BEA day 1, and I'm here with Brandon. We're currently walking to the convention center because I screwed up and I messed up the bus stops and when we're getting off.
We're gonna be late.
No, we're not. We have plenty of time, and it's like shameful because I'm from Chicago, so I should be pretty familiar with like bus and train. We're not too far from the convention center, so we're just walking there for now.
Thank God it isn't raining.
Yeah, we left our umbrellas in our hotel room. It's really foggy outside, and the weather seems like it'll be raining the next couple days, so hopefully that doesn't happen because it's BEA and I don't want it to be raining. The majority of the people that I met at BEA were people that I love to watch online. Personally, I am a pretty shy and introverted person, so I felt like meeting everyone will be really awkward on my end because I wouldn't know what to say. Honestly, I thought I would meet people, say hi, and that would be the end of our conversation. But meeting everyone at BEA just blew my expectations, went so well. Everyone that I met in person is exactly the same as they are online, and I'm so glad that I've attended this event. Felt like I was already friends with them for so long. Technically, yes, that's true because we are friends online. You're actually interacting with them face to face, and it just felt so nice, and I just felt really connected with everyone. The first day of BEA was probably the most chillest day. The first half of the day was conferences and panels, and the show floor didn't open until 1 p.m. and Brandon and I got there like at 9 a.m. We had no idea what to do. We didn't know what time everyone would be coming. And the first person that I actually met aside from Brandon is Joss from Squibbles Read. She was sitting down and leaning against the wall, and I was walking past her, and then I looked to my right and I was like, is that Joss? I don't have 20/20 vision, and even though I wear contacts, my prescription is a little bit off, so I wasn't totally sure if that was Joss, but I said her name anyways. And she looked up, I got closer, and yes, it was Joss. It would have been a little embarrassing if it wasn't Joss, but I'm really glad it was her. So we hung out for a little bit and talked to each other, and then I noticed a small crowd of people that was hanging around the registration area, and that is where I met Sarah from Sarah Without an H, Emma from Emma Books, Michael from Mike Book Lion, Jenna from Jenna Claire K, Elizabeth from Elizabeth Page, Kelly from Kelly Bookspill, and I feel like I'm missing some other people, but there was a lot of people there. I'm not sure how long we hung around that area, but eventually we went downstairs because Jesse from Jesse the Reader was going to be on a panel, so we all wanted to go watch him speak on this panel, so we were just hanging around outside the room. This is where I saw Christine, Kat, Jesse, Jesse, Natasha, Sasha, and Zoe. In this area, the first person that I talked to was Kat and Jesse, and they actually recognized me, and I was just like, what? Externally, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, thank you. But inside, I was freaking out because Kat and Jesse, I love watching their videos, and I can't believe that they recognized me. And I also talked to Zoe for a little bit. They were super nice. I talked to Sasha very briefly. I have met Sasha several times already, so she did kind of recognize me. I didn't get a chance to take a picture with Christine, Natasha, and Sasha. I've already taken pictures with Sasha before, so I wasn't sure if I should like ask again, but I definitely didn't get a chance to take a picture with Natasha and Christine. I just didn't really want to bother them or take them away from like the conversations they were having, so I decided to just be around them and be in their presence but not impose on their conversations or anything. So the show floor opened at 1 p.m. We are now entering the exhibit hall. I made like this spreadsheet of books that I wanted to get and authors that I wanted to meet, and the first day of BA was a day where there wasn't anything going on. It's currently 2:51 and I'm tired. My feet hurts. These are the shoes that I'm wearing. They're not bad, but after walking around for hours, my feet are starting to hurt. So when we get back to the hotel, I'm going to change into some nice sneakers. Here's Brandon just chilling on this couch.
Tired.
Yeah, we're very tired. I think around 4:30, Brandon and I headed back to our hotel, and we were just relaxing there until the BookTuber meetup at 6 p.m. that was held at the Bean, aka Cloudgate. Brandon and I took public transportation to go to the Bean. We got a bit lost after getting off the train. We didn't know what direction to head, so we were just walking around the area trying to navigate the place. We came across this Barnes & Noble. We were on our way to the BookTuber meetup, but then we saw a Barnes & Noble, so obviously we had to stop by. I'm not gonna buy anything because Barnes & Noble books are expensive, but you know, it doesn't hurt to look around.
Here's Bay.
After Barnes & Noble, we eventually made our way to the Bean. To the Bean. This is where the BookTuber meetup will be held. It's at 6 and it's like 8 minutes before 6. This BookTuber meetup was organized by Monica by She Might Be Monica. So thank you, Monica, for organizing all of this. It was just really nice being around so many book lovers, and it was really fun. We took a lot of pictures. We had this group picture that Jenna took. Jenna is an amazing photographer, and she's such a wonderful person. I actually got to hang out with Jenna quite a lot throughout BEA and BookCon, and I love her. Jenna's channel is Jenna Claire K, so you should definitely subscribe to her. This is where I also met Whitney from Witty Novels. Whitney gives the best hugs, and she's hilarious. I love her so much. Whitney, if you're watching this, I love you. I also took pictures with Riley and Lainey. I met them very briefly earlier that day, but we actually got the chance to take a picture at the meetup. After the meetup, we all headed to Panera to have dinner. There was about 12 of us. I'm not sure how many there actually were, but it was a pretty large group of people. I don't eat at Panera very often, but the food that I got was really good. It's 8:30 p.m. As you can see, it's nighttime. We just had dinner with a bunch of people, which was really nice. We ate at Panera and the food was really good. I don't eat at Panera that often, but I really liked it. And now Brandon and I are heading back to our hotel. We're going to the train station. So we got lost on our way here. Not surprised, but hopefully we won't get lost again. We have made it back to our hotel. And we're both incredibly tired. But we're gonna try to film a collab video. So hopefully it works out and we're not like... Yeah. That is the end of BEA Day 1. Now I'm going to talk about BEA Day 2. The second day of BEA was definitely more waiting in line than the previous day. I remember hanging out with Joss for a little bit, and then I met up with Jenna, Civi, Emily, Whitney, Kelly, and Sarah, which is Kelly's sister. Today was actually like a full day of BEA. The show floor opened at 9 a.m. and I think Brandon and I got there at 8 a.m. One of the first lines that I waited for was Ransom Riggs. Ransom Riggs was signing Tales of the Peculiar, and I don't know why I waited in his line because I've only read the first book of Miss Peregrine's and I thought it was okay. I think I waited in his line because I had nothing better to do for a couple hours, so I just went ahead and waited in his line. Plus I was around the area and I saw a lady passing out tickets. I was like, sure, I'll take it, and I found out it was Ransom Riggs, so why not? I got this small chapter sampler sign. I will probably end up giving this away, so stay tuned for that. Stealing Snow by Danielle Page was being given away at the Bloomsbury booth at, I believe, 11:30. So I waited in line with a bunch of other people. We're in line for Stealing Snow by Danielle Page, here with Liz. The main book that I really wanted this day was Furthermore by Tahed Amafi. She wasn't signing until 1:30. Then I found out that Marissa Meyer was doing an ARC signing of Heartless at the Macmillan booth at 3 p.m. and they weren't giving out tickets till 1 p.m. And when you're getting tickets for signing, you have to get there early in order to get the ticket. For signings at Penguin Random House, tickets are passed out half an hour before the actual signing. So that means that tickets for Marissa Meyer's signing and Tahed Amafi's signing were being handed out at the same time. So I had to choose between the two of them, and I ended up choosing Heartless by Marissa Meyer. There was no official line for the Marissa Meyer ticket distribution, so people were just crowding around the Macmillan booth. I started heading there around 12, and after a while I got tired of standing, so I started sitting down. It's 12:40, tickets are being handed out at 1, and I honestly feel like I'm being pushed because I'm sitting down while waiting in line. I'm so tired. I had no idea when they were going to start like lining people up for the tickets, but 10 seconds before they actually did it, I stood up. The lady who announced it was like, okay, tickets are being distributed here, so please do not run. But everyone just started running, pushing, and shoving one another, and I was just like, oh my god. If I had stayed sitting down, I would have been trampled. I'm so glad that I got up right before she announced the ticket distribution. That was really crazy and intense. Luckily, I did get a ticket. I believe there were 90 tickets available, and I was like number 42 or 47. The second I got my hands on the ticket, I started speed walking to the Penguin booth so I can get into the Furthermore line. Luckily, I was able to get a ticket and to get in line. So I did meet Tahed Amafi and I got an ARC of Furthermore signed. I love the Shadow Me trilogy, so I've been wanting to meet Tahed Amafi for so long, and I'm so glad that I finally got a chance to do it at BEA. Once I got Furthermore signed, I believe it was around 2 o'clock, so I headed back to that Macmillan booth to see if there was a line forming for Marissa Meyer. At the front of the line was my friend Jane from It's Jane Lindsay, and our first encounter was really funny. Earlier that day, I was waiting in line for Replica by Lauren Oliver. Jane and her friends were at the end of the line. At this point, I did not see Jane. All I knew was there were 3 girls waiting at the end of the line together, and I asked one of those girls, hey, is this the line for Replica? And I was speaking directly to one of Jane's friends and I didn't see her. She was to my right, and then she was like, Sandy, and I looked up and I was like, Jane! And I can't believe that I didn't see her at first, but I'm really glad that I got the chance to meet with Jane. So I was just hanging out with her and her friends until 3 p.m. when Marissa Meyer would start signing Heartless. Really glad that I met Jane, though I wish I hadn't forgotten to take a picture with her, but hopefully next year we can both go to BEA and I will make that picture happen. Heartless was definitely one of the top books that I really wanted to get at BEA. At 3 p.m., Adam Silvera, who wrote More Happy Than Not, was also doing a signing of his new book that's coming out in January, and it's called History Is All You Left Me. Since I was one of the first people to get Heartless signed, I went to go find his signing. Adam Silvera's booth signing was all the way on the left side of the floor floor. It literally took me like 20 minutes to find the signing because I had no idea where it was. I knew the booth number, and for some reason it didn't click for me to like look up and see all the banners that says the booth numbers. Eventually I did find it. I haven't read More Happy Than Not, so I thought the signing was going to be a bit awkward. Adam Severo seems like a really cool and nice guy, and we kept a conversation going, which was really nice because, you know, when you meet authors and like your conversation kind of dies down, it gets kind of awkward, or you don't know what to say and you're just watching them sign their book. But meeting Adam and getting an arc of History's All You Left Me signed was not awkward at all. So I found Emily and I sat around with her, Civi, Jenna, and Brandon for a while. We all decided to go back to Brandon and I's hotel for like an hour, and then we all decided to go to dinner. We're currently in a lift. We're heading to dinner at Noodles and Company, and we're all squished.
No, I'm not.
Okay, everybody but Emily is squished.
Emily is riding in style.
I actually haven't eaten at Noodles and Company before. I ended up getting like a pad thai and cheesy garlic bread, and they were really good. I really enjoyed that meal. That was the end of day 2 of BEA, and now time to talk about day 3. The first thing I did this day was to get tickets for Maggie Stiefvater's signing in the autographing area. I was able to get a ticket, and her signing wasn't until 10. Before Maggie Stiefvater's signing, I went to the Penguin booth and I waited in line for The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. They were doing an art giveaway at 9:30, and it was like 9 o'clock when the show floor opened, so I immediately went there. We're getting The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and the line is moving. After I got the ARC, I went to the autographing area and I waited in Maggie Stiefvater's line. Her signing was at 10 and she was running late because of traffic, so she didn't come until like 10:20. After I got the Raven King signed, I met up with BEA from Cool Beans Books. We were hanging out together until the Jennifer L. Armentrout signing at 1. The signing was taking place in the Harlequin booth, and I was around that area, so I saw them passing out tickets. So I immediately like jumped in line, grabbed a ticket. Waiting in line to meet Jennifer L. Armentrout. I'm with BEA. The signing starts at 1 and it's pretty much 12 o'clock, and I see the book right there. I'm gonna zoom in. The book is right there and I want it. It's 12:37 and the line is actually starting early, and that makes me so happy because Saba Tahir's signing is at 2 and I want to get there early. Because I had to wait in line, I basically missed lunch. The person in front of me like asked me if I can watch her bag so she can like step out and do something real quick, and she came back with like a bag of popcorn. She's like, "Here, you can have this, thank you for watching my bag." I'm also really hungry, but I have popcorn, so I've been munching on it while waiting in line. And I was just so thankful for that. And like while I was eating, I was like, wait, I probably shouldn't have accepted food from a stranger. But I was like halfway done with the popcorn, so I continued eating it anyways. It's like 4 days later and I'm totally fine, so I think the popcorn was safe. The line is starting early because it's 12:45 and the signing was supposed to start at 1. But it's starting early and I'm so happy. She was actually sitting at a table with like 4 other authors, and she was like towards the very end, so I actually got to meet all of those authors until I met Jennifer L. Armentrout. So glad that I met Jennifer L. Armentrout. I got an arc of The Problem with Forever. I got it signed and personalized, and I got a picture. I really love how the picture came out. Immediately after I got my book signed, I checked my phone and I saw a tweet from Elizabeth saying that people were lining up for Saba Tahir's A Torch Against the Night. So I immediately went to the Penguin booth. I stood in line with Elizabeth and Brandon again.
This is chaos.
We're currently waiting in line for A Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. The signing isn't until 2 and it's 1 o'clock. Look at the line. We did get our tickets, but we did have like a lot of waiting to do before the signing actually started. So right now I'm just sitting and I'm eating popcorn. I actually have already met Saba Tahir. When I first met Saba Tahir, I was about 100 pages into her book, so I haven't finished it yet. So I had to tell her like how much I loved her book. Right after I got my book signed, I immediately walked like a few steps to go to the opposite side of the booth where people were waiting in line for Gemina. During that time, Jay Kristoff actually like went around to say hi to everyone. Currently waiting in line for the Gemina art drop, and I just ran into Jay Kristoff, so I took a picture with him. So
so I can't wait to get the ARC. There's a lot of people waiting, and it's currently 2:50, and the ARC doesn't drop until 3:30.
The second I got Gemina, that was basically the end of BEA day 3. I texted Brandon, I asked him where he was, we went back to our hotel. This was the day that Megan from Megan Precourt was arriving in Chicago, so we waited for her to contact us to let us know that she's here. We arrived in Navy Pier, we explored around for a little bit. And then we decided to have dinner in one of the fast food restaurants. I had some Chinese food and it was terrible. I really didn't like it. It was definitely not like authentic Chinese food, and I didn't expect that either, but it was a lot worse than I thought it would be. And then we went back to Kelly and Megan's Airbnb and we filmed a collab. I will link the collabs down below. It was super fun to film. That was the end of BEA day 3, so now let's talk about BookCon. I woke up at 5 a.m. and I got to the convention center a little bit before 6 a.m. Ticket distributions for author signings were at 8 a.m. and by 6:30 the line was already massive. So if you go to BookCon next year and you know that your favorite author is doing a signing, I highly suggest you get there really early. I waited in line with Brandon, Megan, and Emma. There were different groups of authors signing at different times, and you can only get one wristband per author signing. So for example, if there were 5 authors signing at 3 p.m., you can only get a wristband for one of those 5 authors. But if there's an author signing at 12 p.m. and another one at 3 p.m., you can get wristbands for both of those authors as long as the wristbands are still available. In the end, I ended up getting wristbands for Rochelle Mead and Morgan Matson. Rochelle Mead's signing was at 3 p.m. and Morgan Matson's signing was at 1:45. After I got my wristband, I kind of waited with Brandon, Emma, and Megan for a little bit, and then I got out of the line and I made my way to this area for the Penguin Teen Trivia Challenge. And to get a ticket into this event, you had to win a raffle, and I happened to be one of the lucky winners. The authors participating in this event was Ransom Riggs, Tahira Mafi, Sabaa Tahir, Rochelle Mead, Ruda Sepetys, John Corey Whaley, and David Arnold. This event was basically a YA trivia challenge. Everyone was put into a group, and each author would join a group for each round, and there were 3 rounds. The first round was questions about YA books. For example, they would ask the question, what are Cinder's stepsister's name in the Lunar Chronicles, and you would have to write out the answer. In this round, my group got paired with Rochelle Mead. I was very happy that she was in a group since I love her books. She wasn't that helpful with the questions since she didn't really know much, but I mean, she was in my group and I got to meet Rochelle Mead, so that was awesome. The next round was a list of first lines in a book, and there were a bunch of book titles at the bottom, and you basically had to match each title with the first line. This was really fun. This reminds me of the first sentence challenge. In this round, my group didn't get paired with any authors because there were more groups than authors. And then the last round was called #CoverLove. There were 10 pictures of book covers that were zoomed in, and you had to write down what cover it was. This round was basically the Guess the Book Cover challenge, and my group got paired with Sabaa Tahir. She was really nice and she tried to keep a conversation going, so I think that's really cool when authors do that. Once the rounds were over, we handed in our answers and the people in charge of the event tallied up all the scores. Unfortunately, my group didn't win, but I feel like we were second place or something really close because I felt pretty confident about most of our answers. After this event, I walked around the convention center. It was very overwhelming because it was very crowded. I eventually found the Owl Crate booth, and they had this spinning the wheel thing where you can win cool stuff. So I waited in line to spin the wheel, and I ended up winning the Throne of Glass art prints, and this is what it looks like. It says, "You could rattle the stars," she whispered. "You could do anything if only you dared, and deep down you know it too. That's what scares you the most." Then I texted Emily and asked where she was, so I hung out with her and we went to lunch together. And while Emily and I were eating lunch, we met up with Gabrielle from Frumious Reads. We all hung out and talked to one another, and then we made our way to a panel called Friendship is Magic. And in this panel there was Sarah J. Maas, Alexandra Bracken, Susan Dennard, and a special guest, which was Victoria Aveyard. I didn't stay in the panel too long because Morgan Matson's signing was at 1:45 and I wanted to get there early. I got there about an hour early, but I couldn't start waiting in line because there was another author doing a signing and he or she wasn't done until 15 minutes before Morgan Matson's signing. So I was just hanging around the area, but people still formed lines outside of the line. So I just stood in line and I waited until Morgan Matson's signing started. After I got the Unexpected Everything sign, I waited again around the area for Rochelle Mead's signing at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. was a time where there were so many popular authors doing a signing, and I don't know why they decided to select all these authors for this specific time, because lines were forming everywhere. Cassandra Clare, Leigh Bardugo, Victoria Aveyard are all popular authors, and they were also doing a signing at the same time that Rochelle Mead was signing. And you can't start waiting in line until 15 minutes before your signing because there's another author signing there. People obviously want to be in that area early so they can like be one of the first people to get their book signed. The area where people can walk around the autographing area was just crowded with people trying to form lines, and it was just really crazy. So I also had to purchase a book for Rochelle Mead's signing. I thought that they were only going to have the Glittering Court available. I love Rochelle Mead, but I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the Glittering Court, so I didn't want to buy a copy yet until I read it from like the library. So I got really excited when I saw stacks of Vampire Academy on the table. A, it's cheaper, and B, Vampire Academy is one of my favorite series. By the time that it was my turn to purchase a book, Vampire Academy was sold out and they only had the movie tie-in edition, and I don't want a movie tie-in edition, so I ended up paying extra to get the Glittering Court. Luckily, I didn't own the Glittering Court yet, so I just bought it. For Rochelle Mead's signing, you can't take post pictures. They have to be candid, so you need someone to take it for you. I didn't want to ask the person behind me to take a picture because she was carrying books. So once Rochelle Mead was finished signing my book, I was like, can I take a picture with you? And she's like, you're not supposed to, but sure, do it real quick. And I was like, yes. I already have the camera app open and it was already front facing, and I tried to take a selfie with her holding my phone like this, but only one of us could fit on screen, and I was like struggling to like try to make it work, and then I finally flipped it this way and I took a picture. The picture will be right here, and as you can tell from my face, I was struggling to fit my face into the camera. Rochelle Mead's signing was the last thing on my schedule, so then I met up with Brandon, Sarah, and Whitney, and I hung out with them until the Booksplosion panel at 5:30. We all went into this room where the lines were forming for the Booksplosion panel. I'm not sure where Whitney went, but Whitney went somewhere. So it was just Brandon, Sarah, and I, and Elizabeth eventually walked into the room, so she waited with us and we just hung out and talked to one another. I believe there were over 500 people at the panel, and it's just crazy how big the BookTube community is. I'm so proud of Kat, Christine, and Jesse's accomplishments. Their panel was from 5:30 to 6:15, and after the panel they did a meetup, so I just hung out in the area along with a bunch of other booktubers. After their meetup was over, I went to dinner at Chipotle with Brandon, Sarah, Whitney, Emma, Michael, Jenna, and Monica. It was a very bittersweet dinner because it was basically our last dinner together, and I probably won't see any of them until next year, hopefully, at BEA and BookCon. So overall, BEA was great. I loved it. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I got all the books that I wanted, and BookCon was really good too. BookCon is definitely overwhelming, and there's a lot of waiting in line, and it's just really crowded, and it makes me really anxious because of how many people there were. Overall, I had such a great experience, and I'm so happy to have met so many amazing people and authors that I love. I highly recommend attending this book event if you are able to. That is all for my BEA and BookCon recap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's super long. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!